So, the coming 21st and 22nd general strike in February, I mean this month, it's going to be a 48-hour general strike. It's first time in the history of the post-independent India. Never there have been a general strike of 48 hours. It's one thing to clap, but what we are going to do during the general strike and what will happen after the general strike. Because, of course, the unfortunate situation in the country, especially amongst the left and the working class leadership, is calling for a general strike is a decision of the top. There is no movement, there is no democratic structures within the movement where a general strike is called by the consensus, if not a balloting, by the consensus of the ordinary working masses. This Joint Action Committee, which sits in Delhi, meets once in 2 months or 3 months, will come out with demands of economic demands, and also comes out with the dates of the general strike, which is undemocratic, even though it looks very, what you call, revolutionary to call for a general strike. Unless and until there is a movement from the below, there is an understanding of what the general strike means, and how does that affect in future the lives of the people themselves, and how to draw the other sections of the people, not just the working population, even the non-working population, the unemployed, the students, the women, and the other downtrodden sections of the society into the fold of the working class, and what kind of demands that we will put forward in relation to their lives. And unless those things are discussed, a general strike can be a flop, and it can have a counter effect on the lives of the people. I'll give you one example. Pratap, with his enthusiasm of explaining and raising questions, he made a very sweeping remark, which I may not agree totally, that people's movements are useless. They will not achieve anything. It's not so. I wouldn't say that. See, for example, today, the biggest thorn in the neck of the Indian ruling class today, two issues, which is challenging the neoliberal capital, the neoliberal offensive in this country. One is the Kudankulam struggle. Two is the POSCO struggle. When we were listening to Kshama Sawant, I got a call from one of the spokesperson of the POSCO struggle that today there's a very big attack on the POSCO struggle in the Dinkia area, where I mean, large-scale lathi charge and other things. That's happening every week. That's a different thing. 7 years of struggle. In Kudankulam, 18 months of struggle. It has changed the very consciousness of the people. It may not be led by a Marxist party in a classical terms of the Marxist party, but it has changed the very consciousness. You know, today, unfortunately, for a personal reason, we don't have Gavaskar here. If he is drawn towards the conclusions, to the ideas of Marxism, he was not a Marxist, he was not even a leftist a few months ago. But it is the struggle in the Kudankulam of raising the fundamental questions about the FDI, and whether an FDI is pro-people or anti-people, whether investment and the model of development is pro-people or anti-people. That debate has pushed him towards the ideas, searching for ideas in the genuine left sense. So we cannot have a sweeping understanding of people's struggle. You know, another one thing, you know, in this country, Siri was asking a question yesterday. What is the what is the weight of the working class, organized working class in this society? Which is a very important question. You ask for something or some other reason. What is the weight? What is the organized working class in this country? 3 to 7%. That's the organized working class. The rest are unorganized or semi-organized. So, and I mean, at the most, I mean, even that organized working class is divided in many unions, at least 11 unions. And to come to an understanding of a compatibility, it takes a long struggle. And today, some of the most important anti-establishment, anti-capitalist struggles are taking place outside the main arena of the organized working class. We must be very, very conscious about it. It's not that we are eulogizing some of the petty bourgeois leadership. No, I'm not referring, I may agree to an extent in relation to your comment in relation to Anna Hazare's movement. No doubt about it. But even that, I mean, even the rage against rape, the kind of, the upsurge in the movement that in the consciousness of the people, especially young women, men and women, brought out. See, the society is in ferment. On the one hand, the educated middle class who have seen some growth in the economy, some development in their life standards, are impatient to go further. And at the same time, it's now more than visible that the downtrodden sections of the society, they pretty well know that they have been completely cheated. Of course, one of the complicating factors within that particular section is the multifarious petty bourgeois leadership that these caste organizations, the language organizations, and other formations have. And that keeps them divided. They cannot move to a radical road because of the leadership of these organizations, because of the ideology with which they lead. There's a ferment in every section of the society. And that ferment, that impatience, that searching for an alternative in a very confused manner comes and manifests itself in these petty bourgeois movements. While not having any illusions in the leadership of these petty bourgeois movements, it's our duty to analyze it. And if it is in the interest of the working class, and if we can link those movements to the working class, in whatever way it is possible, I think it's our duty to get into those movements. We cannot have a Brahminical attitude, look, we can't touch this movement, it's led by this or that. We need to get in. It's not, Anand gave statistics in relation to rage against rape, which I also did not know. 50 to 60,000 people have seen our rage against rape leaflet. Rage against rape leaflet. It's not what we wrote. It's not just because what we wrote and beautifully laid out, two-color leaflet. It's not because of that. Because the issue and the objective situation in the society where the young men and women were searching for something, such a horrific thing happened in the society. What can we do? Where can we protest? What kind of action that we can identify with? So there was when they searched, they might have seen our leaflet, and we know that many people are attracted to our ideas today. Especially on that particular issue, because I think, with due respect to all others, we were the only people who linked the issue of patriarchy to casteism and capitalism. We put forward certain slogans, not all worked out correct slogans or anything like that, but we at least attempted to do it. And we were we were quite early in seizing the opportunity to go and do whatever we can. So comrades, on that count, the coming general strike, two-day general strike, may not be a very well prepared general strike. The leadership is going to be trained in the sense it will be a show of strength of how many trade unions they can bring out with, and to what extent the trade union numbers can come out in the street or go to not do anything and just go on a holiday. Yes, we agree with that. I mean, we know that. You know that we don't agree, but we know that. But look at the general strike in the current context of what Yuvraj explained, and what Anand explained in his lead-off. There is a definite search for an alternative. There is definite impatience within the masses that things cannot go on like this. I mean, myself and Anand commented on a news story on New Socialist page. I saw a news report saying that India is the #1 rice producer in the world today. It had slipped in the last decade. Thailand was the #1, and now India is the #1 rice producer. We made a very satirical comment. Please don't rush to the rice shops to buy your bag of rice thinking that it's going to be cheap. No. If you go to a grocery shop and ask for a decent rice, a kilo is nothing less than 48 rupees now. That is the thing, you know. And I was just interacting in a cafe where I eat my breakfast every morning. I said, I mean, he is one of the working class type guy who still gives an idli at 4 rupees, which is impossible. I was asking him, you know, how can you give 4 rupees? You know, he said, with my kind of a shop, if I increase it to 10 rupees, nobody will come because they want other things, you know, the glitz, the light, the packaging and everything. So I have to. Then how can you? He said, I don't know. My profit margins have come down drastically, by 30 to 40% it has come down. So life is now a hell. Day-to-day life is a hell now. I mean, people who are living